Session 3. Peace and happiness on the individual level. At the end of the previous presentation, we saw that the purpose of life is to fulfill 3 missions on the individual, family, and environmental levels. We will now discuss the first mission of life on the individual level in many different ways. A mature human being can be represented as one who succeeds in uniting mind and body to achieve higher goals that transcend the individual needs and provide satisfaction to both body and mind. In other words, you're then able to act for a good cause. You feel good about yourself and filled with energy, thinking about your missions and about others. We know that peace and personal happiness depend on the process of development on the path to maturity. So, if the higher objective is the ultimate good, that is to say, to live for the sake of others, one appears as a person of integrity, maturity, living in accordance with universal values. And it is not what we believe that makes us such an individual, but the way we've been able to integrate these higher values and purpose in life and really be able to live as a united individual of mind and body. Let's first look at physical development. It occurs naturally if we get food, drink, light, and air. We go from infant to child, preteen, teenager, and finally adult. The brain is the last organ to mature, and its frontal part is not fully functional until around 23 years old, according to brain scientists. It is the seat of decision-making skills, and during this period it is better to let oneself be guided in making the fundamental decisions. We must, of course, fulfill our physical needs to maintain the life of the body, but these needs are often disproportionate and sometimes uncontrollable. According to this article by Sébastien Bohler, a specialist in neuroscience, a frontal cortex that is well developed by spiritual practices is able to overcome archaic impulses, which come from our physical ancestors. This allows us to feel happiness instead of being enslaved by physical needs that sometimes become bad habits. The human heart develops from the filial heart, which responds to the love of parents and elders with its filial love. Such children automatically find their intrinsic value and can develop their brotherly heart, capable of expressing a horizontal love towards their siblings, friends, until ultimately they'll be able to appreciate all the people as their brothers and sisters. Thus, spiritual growth should take place at the same time as physical development, but the mind does not automatically grow in a materialistic society devoid of true love. In order to reach maturity, an immature human being needs 2 kinds of soul nourishments: the life elements, such as unconditional love from parents and elders, as well as ever deeper and broader truth, according to the age of the person, about how to live our lives, where we come from, who we are, and where we go. In addition, each person will grow according to how much vitality we get from the actions undertaken with the physical body. The highest vitality comes from deliberate and unconditional actions in service to others. Thus, the spiritual development can continue throughout our lives. It doesn't end at 20 or so years old. This spiritual psychology article is about replacing inner junk food we get through the media, portraying violence and corruption, with soul nourishment we get by reading scriptures. Social development begins with the development of the heart. If children are surrounded by true love in their families, they will naturally follow the standards and norms practiced in their family and apply them elsewhere. And on the foundation of understanding the need to study, they will be able to concentrate on the lessons in school and also master the knowledge they receive. Naturally, they will then want to contribute to their community and automatically will feel happy and receive joy from that. The development of one's personality is also a challenge for every human being, as we are all unique and different from one another. It means, for example, to develop intelligence through the study of science, religion, willpower through service to others, and sport, for example, and also emotion through the arts. We need to constantly develop intellect, will, and emotion and find balance between them in order to act towards truth, goodness, and beauty. This is the aspect of a mature human being who has developed his or her personality. There's also the development of conscience, which is important. It is our inner God. It is like a compass that naturally guides us to the higher good. It is sensitive to words of truth or unjust actions as long as it develops and becomes or remains sensitive to the suffering and needs of others. Finally, there's the development of responsibility. The ability to fulfill one's responsibility is a sign of maturity. We develop it through good models, scriptures. Fulfilling our part of responsibility requires all our efforts, although it's very small compared to that of our society, world, and Creator. Responsibility is what allows us to create ourselves and become actors who can contribute to the overall responsibility of establishing a world of peace. Personal development continues throughout life. If we know that we are part of a greater whole, we do not feel alienated, and we understand that by investing our skills and energy for that whole, we naturally receive great benefits. We feel useful and happy. We see ourselves as a piece of the human puzzle, and we develop our ability to live for the sake of others by first serving our family, then encouraging our family to serve the community, our community to support our nation, and finally allow the representatives of our nation to invest for the whole world. People who live like this remain in history as role models who inspire others to do the same. The individual maturity of a person is seen in his balanced, responsible, conscientious, honest, benevolent personality towards all. Acquiring these traits represents the path to peace and happiness on an individual level. Questions to session 3. How do you keep an adequate balance between your physical needs, such as hunger or sleep, and your spiritual aspirations? Between 1 and 99%, how do you rate your personal responsibility versus the overall responsibility? How is your conscience guiding you? On a scale between 1 and 10, from totally immature to completely mature, where do you place yourself? Please reflect on these questions for a few minutes and write them down.